I bought this camera for the lab because I've wanted to kind of rotate through cameras that I've never shot, but I've always wanted to shoot. And I know that if we could find the right one, that it's gonna go into the hands of someone who's really gonna love this camera. So this is the Hasselblad SWC. To my knowledge on this model, man, I'm not even to my knowledge, it is absolute truth. You cannot change this lens. It has a 38 millimeter 4.5 lens stuck on it. And when you change the focus, nothing happens in the viewfinder, right? So you're basically doing zone focusing with these two red dials right here. It's like any other Hasselblad, 12 exposures. I shot it for the first time yesterday. Was a little weary about what it would look like. I same day rushed the scans, so I'll know later today what they look like. But the experience of shooting it was pretty surprising. I didn't think I was gonna like this camera, and I'm kind of hoping someone doesn't buy it for a while so I can shoot it. Here's how you take the, there's a dark slide holder in the back, which to me, I mean, I'm never, see, it's even hard to get out. Like, I'm not taking this back off. I'm not gonna have like a roll of color and a roll of black and white and then another roll of black and white. I'm shooting the same film stock through the whole thing, so I don't really care about having the dark slide available. Like, even if I lost this, it's not gonna kill me because I'm not changing the back. So it goes in here. It's not the easiest thing, but it's nice, it holds it, right? Turn this guy and you get out your roll of film. And here, I shot XP2. So to like change this film, you gotta have to lift up, you've got this side over here and then this one. Lift up here, that'll take out the take up spool, right? The trick that I learned that is also really helpful, I'll just push on this and look, it comes out. Instead of trying to like lift this out, I'll just push this and it'll come out. Now like this, and I'm gonna get a roll of film, we're gonna load it. Okay, so if you're ever confused as where the take-up spool is, it's this one, because it has the little thing on the side where you can turn this, right? So I'm gonna take another roll of XP2, and this is my only gripe about this camera, right? So let's take this off. Don't want that in the camera. And we'll take this, and what I'm gonna do is, you gotta look at this thing. See how that's like flush to the back? If you turn it, it goes up and down. See that? If I go like, if it's perpendicular, it's like this. If I kind of turn it to the side, it clamps it down. The only gripe I have about this and any other Hasselblad camera is you're forcing me to put this underneath there. Once you get it down, it's pretty quick. It didn't take me long to reload, right? And then I'm gonna just turn this until I get that arrow at the top, which lines up with this arrow here and that arrow there, right? Okay, so it's clamped down, but I'm gonna have to turn it again to get it inside. But you just push this guy in here like so. And look, when it's locked, it's not going in. So I have to kind of turn that and then lock it and then push this down, okay? Once this is loaded like that, you don't move this. This is the actual like winder, but this is how you roll the film to get to 1. So I'm gonna keep turning this until it gets to 1. Okay, so there it is. And now when I hit this shutter, it'll be my first shot. Again, you've got this viewfinder right here, this little hole, and then it shows you what you're gonna see, right? Again, yesterday was my first time shooting it, so I just kind of went off really what the crop line said, because when I move this, it doesn't do anything. But this is the great thing about this lens, it's got zone focusing. So you kind of, if you push this guy right here, this will unlock your coupling. So I can go to like 500 at f8 or like, here, 500 at f22. Oh no, that won't let me change because I gotta do the other way. Let's go, sorry, and move that to 4.5. So if I set that at all the way at 4.5, I can also just now change my coupling because 4.5 at 500 is also f11 at 60. And it's not easy. This is one thing I kind of really don't like about it. So I'm gonna shoot one F, I'm not bouncing around a ton. See this silver line? That's when that lines up with whatever f-stop, that's where it is. So yesterday I chose to shoot f8, and here's why. So as I move this, because I know I wasn't shooting 500, I was shooting more like, let me move this so I can get back to f8. I was shooting f8 at like 60. So what this tells me is you have these two red lines here, right? On either side. This is your depth of field. So if I want everything in focus from infinity to the closest amount that it'll put, I'm going to put my focus, see where the infinity line is? Right on that red line. So that means infinity to about 4.5 feet is in focus at f8, right? However, most of my portraits were pretty close, right? And what I would do is I'd look through the lens and kind of like stand where I'm doing and put my hand out. I know this is 3 feet. So if you're at 3 feet, I would put it at 3 feet. And so now my depth of field is 2.5 feet to 4 feet. Does that make sense? If they were at like 6 feet, then my depth of field is 4 feet to just under 20 feet. Yeah, so as you move that along, even if you're shooting f8, you know, like you can get down to like, look at this, this is stupid. I'm gonna take my glasses off, see what this says. That says 12 inches. I just like the zone focusing and like not having to worry if it's going to be in focus, because this is gospel right here, guys. Anything from infinity to 4.5 feet is going to be in focus when you have it at this. So there's not even, as long as anyone's 5 feet away from you, sorry, that I said 4.5, but that's 4, there's a line and there's 6, so that's 5 feet. 5 feet to infinity at f8, everything's in focus. As long as everything's 5 feet or more, that's all that matters. So if you're doing closer portraits, this is when you need to kind of start using this, right? So some things that I really liked about it is just how simple it is, right? You've got your focus, you've got your viewfinder. That's all it was really. Your shutter's up here. It's not down here, which is kind of nice because like it's right by your eye, you know, instead of like down here. I actually kind of like it up here. You got your winding, and then once the film is done, once you hit 12, you have to wind again this to take the film out. It's just a really simple camera. All I was really focusing on was how I frame it. And then again, just being really, because like I'd catch myself doing this, right? Like trying to like focus it. But like when I look through here and I move this, nothing happens. So that was a joke. That was kind of funny. Another thing I think is really cool that I also explored yesterday, I was shooting a handful of portraits at 15th of a second. Okay, there's no mirror in here, right? So nothing, there's no bounce. And as long as I'm not like this, if I'm pretty steady, I'm pretty confident that the shots that I shot at 15th of a second are gonna be fine. And the ones at 30th of a second are gonna be tack sharp. It's small, it's light. There's this guy on it. I think it's kind of bullshit. There's like this level on it. I don't care about it being level. I understand when you get this circle in the middle, it's probably gonna have the least amount of keystoning because you're shooting straight on, right? Versus like point it down, things are gonna keystone which way, point it up, things are gonna keystone the other way. The cons, it's kind of, I'm not used to this. So this is a little cumbersome, trying to change my f-stops and shutter speeds at the same time, right? So I just kind of stick with one f-stop and one shutter speed. And if it gets darker, I'd have to change it to open up. But for the most part, like if I have to change the shutter speed, I just move it along, right? The other downfall is when you load it, you got to go under that thing. There's nothing you can do about it. Thanks Hasselblad for being like, it's like that one thing that they put in the camera to realize that like, oh, you're special. You're shooting a Hasselblad. So you got to make sure that paper is right underneath that clip and then get it inside. It's weird to me that like this winder doesn't affect this when loading the film. Loading the film, you have to wind this guy, and then advancing the film as you shoot is this. That's a little strange. And also when I'm done, I would think that this would just advance the film. That's not the case. You got to wind it a little bit in here, then take it out. I spent about $1,200 getting this CLA'd. So this isn't going to be it. This one isn't going to be a cheap camera because it's CLA'd and it's basically like a brand new one, you know. I think they range anywhere from, depending on the condition, about 2,000 up to like 4,000, depending. And it's a wide camera, man. It's got a definitely different look. So if you're into like, you know, like the P. Diddy videos where people are like this, then maybe this is your camera. Or even if you're just into groupings. I try to do as many different setups where I would put people at the bottom and leave a lot of blank space at the top, put people in the middle, fill the frame, come in close, have people lean in versus like leaning back. Because I felt if you lean back, it like keystones you. So I'd rather have you lean forward and have it kind of almost elongated. You got this viewfinder right here, and then there's this thing, this little mirror on the side. I never looked at it, but basically it's a magnification of the little bubble level. And just doing this right now, dude, fuck this. I would never use this because like I'm trying to like move that bubble. I don't care if the bubble is straight. You know, I can kind of guesstimate, you know, like, so there's my guesstimation, and then boom, I moved it a little bit. Now it's straight. I don't care. If the keystone happenings, keystone's happenings, and let's be honest, you'd fix it in Photoshop. I'm telling you right now, my piece of advice to you, if you decide to put this at f22, set your focus for infinity on that red, and you have anything in to focus at 2 feet, whatever's in your frame, you better be real aware of it, because all of it is going to be sharp, which means your eye is going to be popping around everywhere. Keep it clean. I shot a lot against a blank wall yesterday, but also at f8, sometimes they were against the wall, sometimes they were not. I knew that if I pulled them off the wall, I could get the background like kind of blurry, because it's like a stucco wall on Noelle's side of her house. So I didn't want the detail, right? Sometimes I did put it against her just to see what would look like, because again, remember, these are Zeiss lenses. They're sharp. They're gonna, and if it says everything's in focus from infinity to just over 2 feet, stupid. Anyway, I'll tell you in 5 hours whether this is kick-ass or not, or whether we're selling it at the lab or I'm keeping